Howdy do, y'all. This is John, and today we are talking about the new Lilo and Stitch, a movie that just came out in theaters. And did the new Lilo and Stitch, just like in the original, it deals with this little girl named Lilo who ends up adopting this alien that kind of disguises itself as a dog a little bit, although very poorly. And they have the series of misadventures together. However, this group of aliens are trying to capture it, and now, in addition to the aliens in this remake, you also have government officials trying to find it. Now, first and foremost, I went into this movie with some cautious curiosity because the original is one of my all-time favorite movies. And, with this remake, the trailers made it look like the filmmakers, their hearts were in the right place. And at the end of the day, I would say Disney learned, from a few of their mistakes, but not as much as they probably should have. First of all, the acting. I think the actors, for the most part, all do a good job. Billy Magnuson as Pleakley and Zach Galifianakis as, Jumba. They're both really good. The people playing Lilo, Nani, and David, let me look them up real quick because I think they deserve a real shout out. Sydney Agdoon, Maya Keola, and Kaipo Daido. I have no idea how to pronounce those names. I'm sorry if I butchered their names. I probably did, but I thought they deserved a shout out because they all did the best they could with what they were given. And I appreciate that. I am so glad they also got Chris Sanders to voice Stitch again. Because really, it's like Darth Vader. Like, only one person can do that voice. Now, as far as the story goes, the story of this movie is more or less, in some way, shape, or form, the same story. For the most part, they changed the ending, which I did not like. But up until that point, it was really more of the same exact story. It's just simply told from a different person's perspective. And I liked that. I don't like the idea of shot-for-shot remakes. I think they're lazy. And, they at least went the right route with this one in terms of, how do we approach the idea of remaking this? Just tell the same story, but with a different, from your own perspective. The CGI kind of varies. I think that, with at least the spaceships and stuff, the CGI looks great. But when it comes to the creatures, really it's just Stitch that looks good. With Jumba and Pleakley, the CGI doesn't look that great on those two. But with Stitch, it does. So yeah, that, the CGI just kind of depends. And believe it or not, for a good chunk of the movie, I was in fact enjoying it. Now, granted, I thought the opening was very rushed. Like, they were just trying to get to the point a lot quicker than in the original, which is weird because the original Lilo and Stitch, that movie's actually shorter than this one. I'm serious, this remake is like 15 minutes longer. Like I was saying, there for a while, I was enjoying it. And some of the heartfelt elements of the original were still in this movie, surprisingly. Like the whole Lilo and Stitch bonding thing, that was handled very well in this movie. However, they kind of missed the meaning of Ohana. They really missed the mark with that one, and that was one of my biggest takeaways with this remake. They completely missed the mark. With the whole Ohana element in the original, if you take that out, it's not the same movie. And on top of that, Stitch's purpose is non-existent because Stitch's whole purpose in that movie was rebonding this family. Yes, he was an absolute chaos gremlin, but, without any of that, he would never have restitched that family together. And if you take that element out, the Ohana out, Stitch has no purpose. What makes the whole Ohana situation even more frustrating is that I can't really talk about it without, spoiling the movie. But I will say this, though, the changes they made to the ending had something to do with it. I really think they missed the mark with Lilo and Nani's relationship. And I say that because, Nani in the original movie, she came out as like a strong girl, she had all of these responsibilities, yet she was still, pursuing her dreams and stuff. And that's one of the things that I like about the Nani in the original movie. That's non-existent. They changed all that to make it seem like Lilo was a burden, even though she wasn't. She still could have pursued many of her dreams and stuff. It's just, she would have had a little extra responsibility. They make this big stink about her not going to college. However, she still could have done that. There's this thing now called online schooling. You can do that now, You can still get your degree from that. She could have, become a marine biologist through that. But no, let's just make Lilo a burden. What? Having children's not a burden. It is a gift. And I'm not going to lie, I hope real soon I become a father myself. I'd have a little more responsibility, but that's okay. And on a smaller scale note, there are a couple other, things that I did not like in this film that I will talk about real quick. First of all, the change in, main alien villain. Gantu's not in this film. He's replaced with someone else, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. Gantu's just too iconic. Should have put Gantu in the movie. No, they did not. And also Cobra Bubbles. What was the point with changing him to a CIA agent? What was the point of that? He does very little in this movie. And what little he does do in this movie, it would have happened anyway. So guys, at the end of the day, the Lilo and Stitch remake, it's not as bad as a lot of the other, Disney remakes. Heck, for a while I was enjoying the crap out of this movie. However, some of the most important elements of this movie that they needed to get right, they unfortunately missed the mark completely. The message of Ohana, the bond between Lilo and Nani, they completely screwed those up. While I appreciate the fact that in a lot of ways they were genuinely trying, they screwed the pooch again. But thankfully, it wasn't as bad as Snow White. I didn't even watch Snow White. That's how bad everyone knew Snow White was going to be. I'm going to give Lilo and Stitch a 4. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Please look forward to more videos real soon. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please remember,